Ahoy, ye land lubbers! Once again, welcome to the Pirate Archaeologist. I am your host, the Pirate Archaeologist himself, Christopher Dean Blosser. This week, we are tackling the riddle of the relationship of early states and the surrounding populations. It's fairly easy to understand this relationship. A group of individuals have banded together to lead a more sedentary life, where they use agriculture to grow crops and feed their families. They start domesticating animals for other uses rather than just for food. They basically created the beginnings of what we call today animal husbandry. But what does all this have to do with other surrounding populations? Well, I'm glad you asked this question. It has everything to do with job creation and protection. With the creation of agricultural systems, there was a need for more people to work in the fields or on the farms or in the pastures, etc. Now, the de facto leaders of the newly created city-states would go around to the surrounding populations and offer these newly created jobs to the people of the surrounding populations. And in return, would offer to protect the people and their property from outside attacks by building walls that encompassed the surrounding areas. This was the best way to not only build a workforce, but to also gain territory. With that being said, not everyone had to work in the fields or the pastures. Some went to work making trade goods or being placed in the militia. The concept of everyone doing their part for the greater good was not lost on anyone. This includes someone whom many consider one of the greatest leaders of all time. He is the creator of the world's first cosmopolitan area, an individual whom even Marco Polo was impressed by. This leader was the great Kublai Khan. His massive metropolitan center of Xanadu is the blueprint for what I am discussing today. Imagine for a moment that you are amassing territories, trying to build a great civilization, a great empire, in an area of the world that has many different people. How would you make sure that everyone followed you, that everyone respected you, that everyone would work for you? You would do what Kublai Khan did. You would respect their cultures and views, even if they didn't wholly align with your own. Watching the second episode of Dr. Maka's Disney Plus series, Ancient China from Above, we know that the Mongols practiced shamanism. This was their religion, and they were fine with it. However, they were also taking territories from the Han Chinese, and they were primarily Buddhists. Not only did Kublai Khan build Buddhist temples to incorporate the Han Chinese into his empire, he went so far as to build some of his buildings at Xanadu in the Han Chinese style. There's also speculation that he married a Han Chinese woman in order to merge his empire with the Mongols, but that may be a different story. But the Han Chinese were not the only ones that Kublai Khan incorporated into his empire. Xanadu is known as the city of 108 temples, and that's a lot of temples in an area that only stretched 96 square miles. There weren't just Mongol, shaman, or Buddhist temples. There has been evidence that shows that some of these temples were actually Islamic mosques and Christian churches. They even uncovered Taoist and Confucianist temples and shrines. And this is what the relationship between early states and the surrounding populations boils down to: keeping people happy. The more they feel included, the more they want to work for you and protect what was created. However, once something negative happens, and in the case of early civilizations, something always happened that turns the people against their leaders one way or the other, well, that causes something entirely else entirely. something that I'll discuss more on later. Thank you, and as always, I am the pirate archaeologist, Christopher Dean Blosser. Thank you for watching. The last thing we will talk about is the largest city of ancient China that has ever been found. This city is almost as old as the empire that I will feature in my research paper. But this city lasted 300 years longer. Introducing the rammed earth walled step pyramid city of Shimao. Shimao was built high up on the Los Plateau and founded circa 2300 BC, approximately 34 years after the rise of the Akkadian Empire in what is now Iraq. But while Shimao was a vibrant society, it still ended 500 years after it began. Why? The cause is the same as everything else: lack of population support. For 500 years or so, Shimao was a glorious agricultural community, spanning 100 acres of land. Then something humans have been dealing with since the dawn of time, and something that is affecting us right now as we speak, happened. The climate changed. The monsoons changed course, and the Los Plateau got colder and dried out, turning into a semi-desert environment. Unable to support the growing of crops, the people left. They didn't become nomadic. They didn't pick up the society and move to a location where they might be able to flourish. They just simply vanished. Or so we think. I have a theory. There is too much of a similarity between relief carvings found at the ruins of Shimao and relief carvings found some 9,650 miles away and dated almost 2,300 years after the fall of Shimao in the Mayan city of Copan in Honduras. I want to believe that the civilization of Shimao became nomadic and made their way somehow to Honduras, but that may be a little far-fetched. I would like to know your guys' opinions. I hope you have enjoyed this long episode of The Pirate Archaeologist. Again, I am your host, the Pirate Archaeologist himself, Christopher Dean Blosser. Oh, by the way, for those who are interested, I posted the link to the Vada Volaterana Field School in the student lounge. If you are interested in going, there are things you have to accomplish soon. Primarily getting your passport up to date and or getting a valid passport. This process can take 6 to 12 weeks. My updated passport took only about 4 to 5 weeks to get, but I did mine in October of last year. Hope to hear from everyone soon, and thanks for watching and supporting.